Since now a couple of years, Wargaming just released countless new tanks through crates. And of course, even if the system is quite profitable for Wargaming, it's definitely more expensive for the player. Therefore, if you want to manage your expenses, you want to know in advance, without using the tank, without testing the tank, if it's worth a shot or not. This video is here to help you choosing the right one. Before we jump into it, my apologies for my voice. I partied pretty hard yesterday and I still have some remains of what I did. When it comes to learning about which tanks are worth it or not, you first need to understand what all the tanks have in common. And here it's quite simple. All tanks in the game and in general are sharing three things: an engine, an armor, and a gun. And of course, if we take that into consideration, we can understand which tanks are better than others based on the statistics, the output of those three things. I'm gonna call them principle for this video. Basically, if you take into consideration the T-30, for example, it's considered to be a tank that is really good. Everyone will agree with that, but I've never heard anyone say the T-30 is broken, for the one simple reason that in order for it to be broken, it would need to fill up all of those three principles to the max. The T-30 is known to have a great gun and a good armor if you know how to use it by being held down, but the mobility is definitely ass. I mean, you're quite slow. And it's logical, because obviously if Wargaming gave it the same mobility as a Bachat Bourrasque or something like that, we would be in trouble. And basically, what you want to understand is that a broken tank is going to be a tank that fills all of those three principles. A good tank is going to be a tank that fills only two, and a bad tank is going to be one that fills only one. Basically, the T-30 is a good tank because it has the armor and the gun, and it's not broken because it's lacking mobility. A T-69, for example, is going to be a bad tank because it has the armor, but it doesn't have the gun, neither does it have the armor. But how do you define a good mobility, a good armor, or a good gun? It's actually through experience and the way you're unlocking tanks. Basically, me with my experience, when I take a look at a tank in the garage, I can know for sure if yes or no the statistics that it's holding are quite good. For example, the T-30 has 2.6k DPM, which is above the average when it comes to tier 9. When you have something that, when you have, I'm gonna say, a specific module that has above statistics than the average of the same tier, you can consider it as good. And the other way around, if it has bad statistics, it's going to mean that averagely or in average, this tank is performing below a certain level that is required to be good and well sustained at that tier. And of course, all of those expectations are going to climb higher and higher the better the tier you are playing on. Of course, you are not expecting the same things from a tier 4 Hetzer than you are from a Grill 15 at tier 10. Now, allow me to demonstrate my theory. For most of you, because I know some people that are not aware of that, when a new tank is going out in the shop, a couple of people still do not manage to see the statistic of the tank before buying it or before trying to buy it, because obviously with the crates now, we are not well served. All you have to do is clicking on the crate. Now you see the WZ in the potential rewards. You just click on that little eye here and boom, you have access to the many different statistics about it. I did not buy the WZ114 based on the theory I talked previously that I'm going to apply with you right now. There are 5 statistics maximum that you want to take a look at when it comes to new tanks in order for you to know if it's worth it or not, because the other statistics, because of course we have access to many statistics, but all of the statistics means nothing until you play the tank. And here the main problem we face is the fact that we can't use the tank. We want to know straight without playing it if yes or no it's gonna fit our style, and if yes or no it's going to be a worthy tank. Let's jump into it. The first thing you want to take a look at is the main armor, specifically the turret armor plus the gun depression of the tank. Why? Because usually when it comes to tanks, new tanks in World of Tank Blitz, you will be able to hide the lower part or the hull in general and only expose your turret. And obviously, in order to do that, you need to know if your turret can sustain a couple of shots. When we talk only about the statistics, we see that we have 280, which means that overall the tank seems to be pretty strong. But at the same time, when we take a look at the aesthetic, we see clearly that Wargaming intended to put a weak spot right there in order to counterbalance the tank. Of course, as we know, this tank has 9 degrees of gun depression. And with 9 degrees of gun depression, it means that you can hide this cupola, which means that in fact, this tank does check the armor principle that I talked about previously. So for the armor, it means that this tank, out of the 3 things I talked about previously, armor, gun, and mobility, the armor is checked. For the second principle, the gun, all you want to take a look at, and you can throw the rest away, is the DPM. Except for the autoloaders and auto-reloaders, it's specific, but we're not going to talk about them in this video. The DPM is only 1.9. 1.9 thousand is definitely below the line when it comes to tier 9 heavies. Most of them have above 2.5 thousand, and it's clearly gonna make a huge difference. I know that a lot of people are gonna tell me that you need to take a look at the average damage, etc. Honestly, no. If you want something that is sustainable in any scenarios, you need to focus on the DPM rather than the alpha damage. 99% of the time, it's the reload time, the DPM, sorry, that will make a difference, not your alpha damage. So here, clearly, the box is not checked, which means that out of the 3 principles I talked about, for the moment, only 1 is respected. The gun, you can throw it away, it sucks. To finish off, we take a look at the maneuverability, and most specifically, we take a look at the top speed and average speed combined. The top speed being 32 is definitely under the line, it's below, I should say, the line, because the vast majority of heavies at tier 9 have around 40, maybe 42 kilometers per hour. Even if we go a little bit below that, even 35 kilometers per hour could do the job, and even if you equip it properly, it will not go above. You're probably going to get stuck at 34 maximum kilometers per hour, which means that the mobility of the tank sucks. On top of that, the turret turn rate and the hull turn rate are both horrible, which means that out of the 3 principles we talked about, only 1 is checked, the armor, because definitely the mobility is also to be thrown away. And just like that, by looking at the right things, we are able to save ourselves time, money, and gold, because we do not want the tank, it's not going to be worth it. And you can apply that to any tanks in the game, and it's just going to be easier for you to know which one you want to get. Now, of course, if you want to really see if the theory is correct, you just have to take a look at one average replay with the tank, and, well, you will see by yourself. Basically, here I'm using Drudol's video because I do not see many replays and reviews out there for the WZ114, and as he did a stream, I thought that I could just use one of his streams. So what you see here is that the mobility clearly sucks because he did not manage to get into position before the others. Why? Because as I told you, the mobility is below the line, which confirms what I said about the mobility, right? Now we are going to see what is going to happen after. A little disclaimer, I did not pick this specific game out of his stream just to prove my point or anything. I just scrolled like right there. Wait, where is my mouse? My mouse cursor somewhere, and that's just what happened. I literally did not do anything else. I did not try to find a specific gameplay or replay where he did some bad things or anything, and I couldn't care less, to be fair. So what we see here is that even the mobility, he played a little bit aggressively, not gonna lie, but the mobility is definitely out of that world. When it comes to the DPM, you can't sustain it because you're still going to be pushed. And just like that, he died because maybe he thought that the tank was super heavy, which is necessarily the point of it at first. But in reality, it just shows how many downsides the tank has, and therefore how not worthy it is. So guys, thanks to this video. I really hope that you will not get scammed by wargaming. And even if for the vast majority of you, you are watching a review of a YouTuber before buying a tank, which is a good thing, even if we are still based by our opinions, but at least you're waiting a little bit for you to know if yes or no the tank is going to be worth it, depending on someone's opinion. But for some of you that are quite excited by a new tank, that really want to get it as soon as possible, maybe that this little guide will help you doing the right choices. Hopefully you enjoyed, guys. If that's the case, feel free to subscribe, like, and share. Once again, sorry for my voice. I slept only like, what time is it? Maybe 2 hours, maybe 3.5 at max. And I gotta be fair with you. It's complicated, but I'm still gonna see you soon for a new video, and hopefully you all have a good weekend. Bye.